Hi Sophie.
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
I know, it feels we're in your studio.
I know, we had a bit of a mishap, everybody. I stood Chloe up.
Sophie did stand me up, but we are in your studio where you record Nearly Weds, and we're here, so thank you for coming on. But just wanted to invite you on really, because I think, the podcast's growing and whatever, and the guests are getting bigger and bigger, and it's really exciting. But I think a lot of the time, especially when you're being part of like a reality TV show where you've got a big presence on social media, like we see the stuff that you want us to see, but then I think it's quite interesting to like dig a bit deeper and ask questions and find out who you really are and a bit more about you and your journey and the realities of stuff. So I think it's going to be a super interesting combo.
I can't wait. I'm here for it. Let's get comfy.
Let's have a therapy session.
Yeah.
So obviously kind of need no introduction, but kind of give us a bit more background on like what life was like before Made in Chelsea.
So I graduated uni. I went to Newcastle Uni. I went to Newcastle Uni. I then went travelling. I always forget about that. We meant to go for 6 months. We're starting at 4 to 6 months, and we cut it short because we really, let's just say, I don't think travelling was for us at that point in our lives. We went to...
Was it like hostel travelling?
Hostel travelling, straight off the back of uni. I still had a boyfriend, we went on a break when I went travelling. And 3 girls, and we went to Central America and South America, and it was just quite overwhelming, quite intimidating, and like first world problems, but we probably just weren't used to like hostels, sleeping in the bedroom with like 4 other men, and like 3 other girls, and like just so many scary things. And now I look back on it, I'm like, God, it's quite scary that we did that, like 3 tiny little girls just going to South America. Anyway, so we did that. I came back and I was sort of like, what am I doing? And people say it's sort of the lost years. I don't know whether you had that or like sort of those years where you're just like, you graduate from uni or graduate from college or school or whatever, and you're just like, what the hell am I meant to do now? Yeah. You don't know what job you want to do. You don't know what path you want to do. You can't really get any jobs for starters. So you're just sort of, you're earning no money. I was living in London at the time with my dad, and I did a couple internships. I then worked for Annabelle's, private members club. Yeah. I was a PA, and I don't know how I got this role because I honestly had no experience. And I was a PA or an EA for like the people who were opening the new Annabelle's, which was quite interesting. And I could have sort of gone down that route, like they offered me like a permanent role, but at the same time, my boyfriend at the time had just been asked to be on Made in Chelsea, and he obviously was like, well, I've got a girlfriend. They called me in. We then broke up. I ended up going on it. He didn't end up going on it. I was like, I'll take it. No. And then 3 years later or 4 years later, I don't even know how long I was on it. I guess I was like 20. I just turned 24, and I left when I was 28, I think, or 27. So 3 years. Seems like I was on it for a lifetime, but it was actually for 3 years.
I bet it does though, because a lot of your life is shared, so that must be like drama in itself without actual life drama or drama of the show, right?
Totally. And I think the nature of the beast with reality TV is like everyone goes on it for a reason. Like you get an amazing sort of profile, you get a platform, you get to like, you do get a step up in that way that you're allowed to like, sure, you could get a following and whatever, and obviously you're subjected to hate or criticism, but you're also subjected to like more opportunities and doors opening, and you can start your own brand or whatever, all these different things. But I think what people don't realise is obviously you're not really any benefit to a TV show or reality show unless you're bringing some form of drama. Yeah. And to be in that space where you are constantly like, God, I just have to be having some form of drama in your life is quite negative. It's quite like soul destroying in a way. Yeah. I mean, for me, I actually didn't ever get to that stage because I literally just ended up having drama thrust upon me without asking for it, from boy troubles and girl troubles and whatever. But you are sort of, and the atmosphere is very, it's not, I would hate to say the word inauthentic, but everyone sort of knows what they're doing.
Yeah, so people are kind of going out of their way to seek issues.
Yeah, I mean, you've got at the end of it, which I didn't realise really until I left, and that's kind of when I did leave, was when I sort of saw it without the rose-tinted glasses on. Like, people are getting storylines, like you're wanting to film because that's your job and that's your airtime and that's how you're going to make money and all the rest of it, and what's the point in doing something if you're not going to do it to the best of your ability?
Yeah, sure.
But like, you know, people are seeking out storylines and it does become a bit toxic.
Yeah, I can imagine. Just going back to the beginning of that, like, what was the process of getting on the show like? So I guess you meet the producers. Do you meet the cast? Do you have to do like any role play situation?
Oh my god, I think you're literally you're in the dark. Like no, like now I remember like going on it, and I can remember obviously then I was like, you know, I'd been on it for a while, and there was new people coming on it, and everyone sort of get like hears on the grapevine that someone new is coming on, and everyone kind of finds out. But for the person who's new coming on, you really don't know anyone. Like,
do you know any of the people in the show
now?
No, I mean when you're
meant to sort of have an intact. Typically, they're kind of like, you know, I'm not sure how authentic the ends up. I knew Frankie, and we obviously then came on as like I came on as her friend. But you don't know anyone. I didn't know anyone else really. Did I? No, I didn't. So you're just thrown into this situation. It's so daunting. You don't know anyone. You're just meant to make friends. But then obviously we have the away trips, and to be honest, you always feel like you're in this sort of bubble together, and you're like you become a family in a really weird, really dysfunctional way. And then you have away trips, and then everyone becomes so close, and like you know, I made really good friends on there.
Yeah, and then just like the reality of it, like how often do you film? Like what is that? Because I guess it's almost like a Love Island, but a real version of a Love Island, because they all build relationships and they're friends, and just like when you were saying, like you're kind of in this clique of like this circle of weirdness that no one else is really experiencing.
Yeah. I think all reality TV is quite similar in that sense. Like you're all in this sort of bubble, and it's like an unspoken word, but you're all like living this kind of. It is real, but it's constructed reality in a sense, I guess. I mean, filming really varies. I filmed loads because I had boy issues, which I was always crying on TV, so that was probably quite beneficial for them. But then, you know, when Jamie left and I had a boyfriend who was off camera, you know, I didn't film as much, and it just really varies on like your, like how involved you are, and what's going on in your life.
Just like crying on camera and stuff. What? And you spoke a little bit about like how exposed you are, and to to people having an insight and a look into your reality. Like, what is that like from going from the girl who kind of worked in Annabelle's to then like everybody knowing your business, really?
I really weirdly was not fazed by it, and I really didn't like notice. It was like such a gradual thing, and I don't think you walk out, it's not like Love Island, like you're not going on one episode of Main Chelsea and people are recognising you down the street, like it's just not like that. And so I didn't really notice, and like I said, like the places where we filmed I went anyway, the people who I was filming with I hung out with anyway, so I lived in my own house. I didn't really notice. I guess there was like one occasion, I think, where there was like one fight I had on camera. Not a fist fight, but a verbal fight. And people were sort of like not so much Team Sophie, and I was a bit like, oh my god, this is horrible. But they're so fickle, the fans. And someone else fucks someone else over, and then people are like more interested in that. So I never really was that phased. I mean, it's obviously not nice. I never watched it back ever. After the first episode, I was like, I cannot watch it back ever again.
Why? What?
My voice, everything, the way I live, like so critical. I was like, oh my god, I'm giving myself the ick.
Yeah.
So I think that was the way I handled it. I just outside out of mind.
Do you like look on the Daily Mail and stuff? Do you look at? I guess like people will message you about stuff, but do you look in like the media?
Oh yeah, I do look at the Daily Mail. Probably shouldn't, but I love the old Daily Mail. I love social media. Like, I think, you know, there's great benefits. I mean, I know there's loads of negatives to it, but I mean, I wish I didn't scroll so much, but I do. I'm always on social media. But yeah, I'm trying my New Year's resolution, and I keep saying I'm trying not to do New Year's resolutions, but I am trying to be more mindful of putting the phone away, especially in the evenings.
I know, me too. Do you think it's hard though? Like, I've been trying to do, there's a book called How to Break Up With Your Phone.
I need to read it.
It's fucking impossible. Like, it's like, it's like day one, and it's a 30-day thing, so it's like day one, get an app and track how much you're using your phone, and it tells you like how many times you pick it up, how often you use it when you're walking, like all of this stuff.
I have it in my pocket the entire time. It's like not on me.
Yeah, I know, it's like a heartbeat, right? So, and then it's like this thing, and I get to day two, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm so dependent on
anything like that though, anything that's so restrictive or like scheduled, I'm like, oh, can't do it. It's like a diet. It's like, no, I can't do it. But I think like maybe just the evenings.
Yeah.
Because I just never watched TV. Like, I realised I'd watched all these films, Jamie was like, we've seen that, and I was like, don't remember it, because I've just been like double screening the whole time. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I know, it is so addictive. You mentioned about like watching episodes back and like giving yourself the ick. Like, has building a platform or like being on TV or whatever, has that come with like insecurity or anything like that, or like questioning yourself? Or because I think like as women we do that anyway, but then when your platform's amplified, are you aware that there's more eyes on you than normal?
Yeah, do you know what? I think as women, 100% I am. But that goes to, you know, just, it depends on my mood. Like sometimes, like, you know, if I'm exercising and I'm feeling great and I'm in a really positive mindset and I'm not, you know, I get anxiety quite badly sometimes, and if I'm not feeling anxious, then I really don't care, and I'll like go weeks and weeks with no makeup and nothing phases me. And then there'll be other times when I'm really like, oh my god, I look so awful, and like they're seeing me and they're seeing, you know.
What is that? It's awful, isn't it?
It's awful. I'm telling you now, there's Mercury retrograde is going on at the moment, and I am feeling bloody funky. I'm like, it's over on the 19th of January, and I'm like, get me to the 19th.
I don't understand much Mercury in retrograde. I'm just like, yeah, it's an excuse. I don't know what the fuck it is.
I don't fucking know that. I think Mercury goes around the sun one extra time or something. The planets are like in orbit and everything's out of kill, and I'm using it as my excuse for how I'm feeling, because I've been feeling, or I've been having puppy blues.
Yeah,
so I just got puppy.
Oh yeah.
But I don't laugh because people do say that's a real thing. It's like post.
What is the puppy blues there? When you first get a puppy, this is like a negative feeling that you get.
Yeah, so like, is it postnatal?
Yeah.
Please, anyone listening, like honestly, I know all the mothers out there and all the parents out there are going to be like, you don't be fucking talk when you haven't had a child. But I think there's like a sense of restriction, you know, sleep deprivation. She's waking me up at like 3, now it's 5.
Yeah, because how long have you had it now?
3 weeks, but my god, the first 2 weeks is like, they can't walk for 4 weeks, so you're not really leaving the house. You can't really leave their side for the first. I mean, first time I've left her on her own is today. She's actually with my mum, so she knows about it. And I think it's just like, you feel really restricted. You're like, whoa, my life, the house is a tip. Like I'm such a routine girl. Like I get up at 7, I have to gym, and you know, I've not gym for 4 weeks. Like you just tired, all of that sort of thing. I think it makes you feel a bit down. I'm not sure.
It's all out of fun.
All out of fun. Also, then got the wedding. Which I will say, in regards to your question, I think this is one of the biggest times I've ever felt like having eyes on me. And like, if I was doing this wedding, and obviously we do newlyweds, and I love it so much, and we have such an amazing community, and it's just like so great, and I love like people coming up to me and being like, oh, I love the wedding, I'm so excited for you, or all the messages about the wedding. But I do feel this is probably the most time I've been like, God, lots of people are going to want to see the photos of me as a bride, and I'm like, being like the perfect bride. That's quite a lot of pressure.
That is a lot of pressure. How do you deal with that? Like, do you feel anxious about it already?
Yeah. It's like it hit me over Christmas. Like, it's this year, but I'm just trying to. The more I speak to people, the more you realise that you're fine. Like everyone does. I think the easiest thing to do for me, especially like with anything like anxiety, is I just close off from people, and I just get in my own head, like we were saying. And the more you like just speak to people, you talk to them, you're like, oh my god, I feel so shit, like I want to call the wedding off, not because I don't love Jamie, I just want to get married, just me and him. And I was like, oh, I felt the same way. Or like, oh, it's, you know, it's like planning weddings, worst thing in the world, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's so stupid, I'm in my head. It's like so normal to feel this way.
Yeah, it is normal, but I guess it is the added pressure of people do have a look into your life, so it's like, I guess what you said, like putting perspective on that and just getting on with it.
Just getting on with it, like that's, you know, that's what the situation is.
Yeah.
And like, don't care. Like, it's easier said than done, but everyone's like, just focus on you. Especially like with the wedding, and I'm like, but the wedding isn't for me. Like the party is for all the guests, so why would we be focusing on me? But I think in life you do just really have to take a step back and really just think, I'm the only one. Like you've got to be selfish in some ways.
And I think like we live in a time now where everyone has such big fat opinions about everything. Like
such big fat opinions. Shut up, everyone.
Shut up with your big fat opinions. But I think they do. But even like the pregnancy thing where you were in the paper and you were bloated.
Oh my god,
what the fuck is that? Like, you wake up and you're like, what the fuck?
Oh, I honestly woke up with about 80 messages of people going, oh, she's 100% pregnant, and then they were tagging their friends in my photos going like, I told you she was pregnant, and I was like, sorry guys, that's my organ, like it's probably my like womb you're looking at, like what the fuck do you want me to have? Like washboard abs? It's just crazy.
How do you deal with shit like that? Do you just like laugh at, I mean that one was a bit...
That like made me laugh. I was just like, I've had it again. I went to, we went to Paris and we missed our flights. We came back to the hotel and we were just sat in the hotel all day and I just was eating because I was just bored. And then I ordered like this huge chicken Milanese and it was so filling and I was wearing this tight dress and I literally looked like I was 2 months pregnant, and the woman said to me, she was like, oh, it's been so nice to have you here, we can't wait to see all three of you next time. And I was like, who the fuck is the third person? Sorry, we loud, sir.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
I was like, who the hell is the third person? Then I looked down. Oh my god, she thinks I'm literally about to pop a child out. And it's just my chicken Milanese.
At least you've been fed good.
Oh my Christ.
Chicken Milanese baby. Oh. It's wild, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's just like, I think for most people it's such like a weird reality to have. But it's interesting that you didn't... I guess you're right, like in the sense of Made in Chelsea being like, it's quite slow, I guess, because it's one episode a week and it's, I guess, is reality in a sense, you know?
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't have like a million, however, 100 million viewers like Love Island does. So it is sort of a slow burner, and it didn't feel like, ow, this is my new reality.
Yeah.
I think getting married is more stressful than that.
How so? I guess because of the pressure of people.
Yeah, I think there's so much pressure on a bride. I think that you're like, you literally have this pressure to be the perfect bride. Everyone's like, so, oh my god, you started like your wedding prep. And I'm just like, well, how much fucking prep am I meant to be doing? Like, it's crazy. Although I am like, I really should be starting.
Do you put that pressure on yourself though, or do other people put it on you, do you think?
I probably put it on myself. Like, you know, you could just look at it and be like, who cares? It's January. Like, it's cold and rainy and miserable and I don't want to be getting up at 7 a.m. and going to the gym. But I've always been a bit of a perfectionist. But I've always like really cared. But I guess it's vanity. I have always like cared. Like, I've never been like someone who's like, oh, I'm just going to eat what the hell I want, never gym, and just roll with it. I've always tried to like care about, which is not necessarily a good thing. It's probably a bad thing. I wish I didn't care as much.
I don't think that is a bad thing. I think more people need to give a shit about themselves and look after themselves. I just have this thing of like, if you don't care about yourself, how can anyone else care about you? I think it's like a self-respect thing.
Yeah, but then there also has to be like, you can't be so critical of yourself.
No.
Like, you looking after yourself and eating well and gymming and those sorts of things are like sort of just wellness. But then there comes a point when you can just be like so self-critical. And I go through ways of being like that, and then other times I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Do you? How so? Like self-critical, how?
I just, looking in the mirror and be like, oh, my eyebrows high. I sound so backwards and vain right now, but when you just like look at a video, like I do these podcasts all the time, so I look at them like, that's what I look like, but like other times I'm just like, oh my god, you're so much stupid, and if I was your friend, I would disown you as a friend because you're being so vain right now.
Yeah. Have you been through phases of like, just like completely tearing yourself apart?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you like get over it? Like how?
I just have to get in. Also, like it's only ever when I'm not looking after myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like get in the gym, like make yourself feel better. Stop eating like shit, because I'm gonna feel shit if I eat shit. And stop like going out all the time. That's I think for me it's like a real, but like just having a balanced lifestyle, like doing what, like December I felt so crap. So it was Christmas and I went out so much, dinners every single night, and it's not healthy on your body. You're gonna feel shit mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make a change. Today was my first day back in the gym.
How do you train? Do you do like Pilates? I do Pilates. But...
I do Pilates and I do this crazy horrible machine called a Versa timer, and it's like
they don't look fun.
They're not fun. They are not fun. They're anything but fun.
Is that like a whole class on the verticlimer?
For 40 minutes. Well, it's actually 45 minutes. But yeah.
Ooh, great.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Do you have any favourite workouts?
I used to be really keen in the gym, and then I moved up to Manchester last year, and the whole year I've just been like, I can't be arsed with this, but I've always trained, and like I've always like ran or the gym or whatever, and now I just kind of do what my body feels like on the day. So I do train like 4 or 5 times a week, but I just go with the flow. You
definitely do train then.
Oh yeah, I do, but like I just go with the flow, and sometimes I want to run, sometimes I want to stretch, sometimes I want to do Pilates, and I just go with it.
Got to listen to your body.
Really got to look. Oh, it sounds so spiritual, but you do. I think I do think there's so much pressure on just lifestyle at the minute as well, isn't there? Of having this like perfected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like no toxins, like everything's got to be like this, and then you find out that like oat milk, which you think you're being really healthy, is like giving you like a swollen brain, and you're like, what am I meant to be doing? Someone tell me the way.
Yeah, I know, it's a lot, isn't it? It is a lot. We were talking about insecurities, and then I think we changed the topic, or we like digressed, but like you were saying about like insecurities and then feeling good, and then let's just pick that back up, because I think we've been talking a lot about bodies on the podcast lately, and I get a lot of questions about it, because as women, like everyone every day feels a type of way about the body. Like you can literally wake up in the morning and feel great, and then by lunchtime you're like, fuck this, I hate myself.
Yeah.
Like it literally happens. So like how do you deal with that, and how do you become more confident in like who you are? And I'm asking because I think as someone who's got a platform, you seem quite comfortable to just show who you are, like. And it's interesting because you said you're like quite a perfectionist, but a lot of your content isn't perfected, and it's real and it's unedited, and it's like you're just quite goofy on Instagram and stuff. And I think that's sorry if that's like,
that's what I was going for.
Like sometimes you can be like, and you're just you, and it's actually quite nice to see, because so many people do try and portray like a perfect version of who they are, and I think what you do is you just try and show a real version of yourself, which is quite fun.
I think that my version of like worrying about what I look like and like having a being a perfectionist is like all to do with myself. So it's like a perfectionist radar within my own mind. It's not really about what other people think. And like I said, I do have days where I'm like, oh my god, I look really awful and everyone's seeing me right now, like, if you've just walked out the gym. But I do have a weird thing where I'm not that phased of what other people think about me.
Have you always been like that?
I mean, I don't know. I think so. Like I've never, because I think I've got quite a high sort of, like I don't think, like I don't look at, like I just think if I think it's okay, then it surely is okay.
No, I think, what were you going to say? You have a high...
I have like not a high standard, because I will go on Instagram with spot cream all over my face, and
Yeah, but I think I don't think that's not a high standard. I think if you hold yourself in high regard, I don't think that's arrogant. I think that's self-confidence, and I actually don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's quite a strong mindset to have. I'm not sure
how much I have self-confidence. Maybe I do. I think, honestly, for me, it's all down to how much I'm looking after myself.
Yeah.
So it really is down to like how much I'm sleeping, like how much I'm drinking, how much just getting out of the house. And I know it sounds like a broken record. Everyone says it's self-love, like look after yourself, you're going to feel much better. But if I'm not, I can look exactly the same as I did yesterday. But yesterday I didn't go to the gym and I ate shit. But I probably would look on the outside exactly the same. But I would feel so crap. Whereas if I just look after myself and put what my body needs in my body and drank water and didn't burn myself out and didn't, just went out in the fresh air, I'm gonna feel much better. And that and a routine for me is so key.
Yeah.
Like I have to get up in the morning and do something, and that's what I've really noticed.
Yeah, I hear that. Isn't it weird how like you were talking about like feeling like a type of way about your body there? Isn't it weird how you can literally feel completely different like from one day to the next?
And you could look the same on the outside. Like my friends would be like, so I'll be like, I look disgusting today. And you really shouldn't, or my therapist always says you should never talk to yourself like that. Although I do. Another thing she told me to do was like print off a little photo of like mini you. So like a 6-year-old you, put it on your mirror, and every time you say something or thinking something critical, just to be like, oh my god, I'm criticising that little 6-year-old.
Have you done that?
No.
No, I haven't either, but...
It just seems like a bit of effort, but... I get a printer, I might do a screensaver of myself as a child on my phone.
You probably look at it more, right?
Yeah.
I think Kendall Jenner does that. I saw on Instagram, but like, I'm just like, does it work? I don't really think about my younger self.
I think like if I really felt crap enough, I'd still be like to the 4-year-old, oh, why have you made me do this, that, and the other? Like I'd still be quite mean to her. But it's this like practice, and I think all of these things are like, I sound really spiritual and ridiculous right now, but it's like muscle memory. You have to like train your brain to think in that way.
Yeah, definitely. So self-care is like working out, moving, eating good.
100%. Like that is so key for me. For me, the biggest thing is exercise, like the endorphins it gives me.
Yeah.
That, and I get self-care is looking after myself. Like some people really do. Like I've got friends who eat, like honestly, such crap, and they just sleep and they feel great. They don't, nothing phases them. They're like, I look fantastic, and they do look fantastic. They go out that night, they drink, they wake up next morning, eat, sleep, repeat. They feel great, but that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm like that. Let's talk about beauty a little bit, because kind of the premise of the podcast started very heavily focused on beauty. That's my background, that's where my network was at, and it's kind of growing into like this self-care, self-confidence space with like beauty as a protagonist. Beauty is a part of everyone's world, like, but you do post a lot about it, and I know you've talked about your skin and like having hyperpigmentation, and just talk about beauty and like your perception of beauty and why you love beauty, because I ask a lot of people this and everyone answers it in like a completely different way, so I always find it really interesting.
That is really interesting. I definitely don't think beauty is what you are on the outside. I definitely think like and that you need to remind yourself of, because I definitely don't listen to that set statement, but it really is like who people are and like being kind to others and all of those sorts of things, and just being like you're trying to find like your true line with your true like authentic self, and not trying to be something you're not, because I can always sense that, and I'm a big person on like picking up on like people's vibes. So like if you've got a nice vibe, I think you're gonna be beautiful on the outside as well as on the inside. But in terms of like products, beauty and things like that, again, I really am all about what you put into your body is what you look like on the outside. So I do think, I eat all organic. I sound kind of ridiculous, but I do try and eat all organic. I try and drink loads of water. I try and not have like any of those nasty things like aspartame or like sunflower oil. Like I've read like Petronella, I've read like sort of loads of these, like the sort of the line between mental and physical beauty and how they merge together. That's where my interest in beauty really lies. But then obviously I'm very into like gymming, red saunas, cryotherapy, all of that. I think that really helps, and that I haven't done for 5 weeks, so I'm feeling like that's not helping with my red light therapy. I love treatments.
What is red light therapy? Is it like a facial?
So you can get, like, I've actually got the machine, but you can just get facials. You can go to like places and get in like it's almost like a sunbed, and you get in there, and it's just basically amazing for like antioxidants. So it like de-stresses you, it helps your skin regenerate, it helps your like, it's just incredible. De-swelling, lymphatic drainage, de-stress and recovery basically. I think that's amazing. All of those sorts of like the new sort of evolved aspects, like the new sort of evolved wellness area, which then links to beauty, is where I sort of am so into. I love all of that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do feel like, because I'm guessing you've been into skincare and stuff for quite a long time, or like when did you start getting into it?
I started getting into skincare when I was so young, like 16, which I think is quite young.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think probably when we were younger,
it was young. Now it's young.
Like, yeah, everyone's into skincare. People know so much about it.
I know.
Yeah.
But I had my first hydrofacial when I was like 16, which I think like none of my friends have had a facial. No. And I just couldn't stand the sight of a blackhead. Like, I had like, I don't know, that this is where the perfectionism lies. Like, when I was younger, I couldn't. And like, no 16-year-old was really like looking at their nose being like, oh my God, I've got a blackhead on there. I was like, this is eating me alive, just because I
did you just like pick them?
But I couldn't even do that because I would hate them, the scab and the spots.
Yeah.
So I found a hydrofacial because my mum used to go to like a esthetician or whatever. I started going there, and then I got like really bad, well, I mean, I can't really call it really bad, but in my experience it was really bad spots, and it all over my forehead. And so I went on a Barshi cleanser down there, which is like quite a strong sort of cleansing, like beauty regime. And I was on that when I was 16, so even all the way through uni. And then coming out of uni, I then obviously went travelling. My skin was really good throughout travelling, because obviously I was just in the sun and drinking water, but that then led to pigmentation, because I think I was way through months. And I don't know if people say it's genetics or hormonal. My mum had it, so, and asthma, and then that really did knock my confidence. I really didn't enjoy that. I still battle with it now, like I have to wear sun cream, but I would say that's when I sort of really had to strip back all of the products, and I was just so vigilant with it. I was like, I have to be careful with my skin, like your skin is so delicate, and people just slap whatever you know, I used to slap all of those cleanser down products on, which was probably so stripping, and so like, you're not meant to go out in the sun with all of those products on, and I was just putting them on, and then boom, I'd be out.
And those scrubs, you literally, like, you used to scrub your skin off, didn't you?
Yeah, do you remember St. Ives? I would like scrub my skin off, and apparently that was like little shards of glass that would be cutting your skin. Yeah.
I actually went to my friends the other day, because I work in beauty and worked in skincare. So a lot of my friends messaged me and say, is this good, da da da, and I went to stay over for the weekend, and she was like, oh, I just need to nip to Sainsbury's to get an apricot scrub, and I was like, come again? And she was like, you know, they said, and I was like, no, the face is literally going to fall off, like it's going to fall off.
I would use that twice a day, like I would not, there would not be a layer of my, I hated like any like bump on my face was like death, so I would use St. Ives, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
The apricot scrub, and I would love it. I mean, I still am a bit partial to use it on my body, because it is a good old coarse exfoliator.
Gets rid of all of the stuff. So yeah, you were into skincare at 17 and then kind of gradually built up. How have you, because I guess you still suffer, I don't know if hyperpigmentation ever fully goes, because I've got it, but mine's from sun damage as well, but I know there's treatments, but how have you managed to get rid of some of it or treat some of it?
So obviously I've worked with Eucerin before, and I'm a massive fan. Like truly, that was the first product that I ever saw a difference with. and I'm not working with them anymore, so it's not an ad, guys. That's just my true opinion. And it is really affordable, and it's all the rest of it. It then did get worse because I stopped using it. It was lockdown, and you couldn't really go out and get products. And I went away, and I think just a combination of going away and being outside the whole time with no hat really exacerbated it. But I wear Fat 50 night and day. I wear about 3 layers. So my primer is Fat 50. I then put sun cream on. I then put my foundation on, or my tinted moisturiser, which is also Fat 50. So it's like I'm covered in Fat 50. And if it's sunny in the summer, I will wear a hat everywhere I go, and then take it off when I'm like inside or in the shade. So it's really a bit of a ball ache, but it's just something you've got to do. And I guess maybe in a couple of years I'll be happy I did it, because I may have hyperpigmentation, but hopefully I'll be less wrinkly. Because the face has been protected from the sun for quite some years now.
The face is a treasure. I do think though, like, it's so nice when you've got glowy skin or like healthy skin, and I don't think it matters about your makeup, or however your makeup goes on way nicer, doesn't it, when you've got nice skin? God, yeah. But like, it's just nice to look in pictures and be like, oh, my face actually looks nice, or like look in the mirror and your skin actually looks healthy. Like,
it makes such a difference. But again, I really noticed that's when I've not been going out. That's when I've been drinking water. Like, it's really what I put in my body that then shows on my skin. Because I can put makeup on and kind of look the same. You know, but then there's that different glow when you've like actually been being really healthy on the inside.
Yeah. With the whole healthy thing, like, how do you find a balance of like, because life isn't like, you can't just be good all the time and eat good.
Oh my God, no.
How do you like find a balance of normal?
I think that you can't restrict. So like, if people do like the whole like no carbs thing, you know, that's firstly not healthy anyway,
and it's fucking boring.
And it's just so fucking hard. Like, you're miserable. Like, I would have a headache. So for me, I love having like sourdough, avocado, poached eggs, smoked salmon. Like, that fills me up, and that's healthy, and it's like, and also it's just about cutting things out. Like, for me, I used to have so many sweeteners in just Diet Cokes, and I loved Robinson's fruit squash. I don't know if anyone's listened to me, but I couldn't drink water without it. So taking things like that out, like, they're toxins, so get rid of those. And that's easily done. You're just drinking water, and you're just not drinking like 2 Diet Cokes a day, because I'm a big sucker for anything to drink. And like, just doing things like that, all organic. I'm a massive advocate of that. Basically just organic whole foods, and taking out the crap, like the toxins, the things like the fast food. But obviously at the weekends when I go out, I have a no rule policy. Like, I will eat and drink whatever I want.
Yeah, I do think we've got to a point where people are so strict on themselves, and like, just live a little, like, it's okay. I used to try and like literally write a diary of like what I would do every day on like a Sunday night. I'd be like, right, Monday's a good day, Tuesday's a good day, Wednesday might go out for a drink, but then Thursday like got to be good because I went out on Wednesday. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is not normal. Like, you can't. I was just miserable for ages. Like, you just can't do that, you know.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot, isn't it?
And so many people use like, get off the counting calorie apps. Like, get off that. It's bullshit, and it's just misery. Like, who wants to do that? Just try and find out what you like, and don't restrict yourself. Like, if you fancy, you know, a bowl of pasta, have a bowl of pasta. Just get organic bowl of pasta, and try and cook with whole food ingredients, rather than like getting the takeaway, which has probably been made with like really shit oil or whatever. You know, that's where I kind of sit little. Yeah,
the organic thing. Have you watched that episode of the Kardashians where Kourtney's like, Scat got food poisoning because he ate inorganic beef? I just had a vision of you being like, Jamie.
I'm literally like that. I'm like, everything is this organic? My friend Melissa, who thought everything in Pratt was organic, and I still don't think it is, and she always gets everything from there. Her pastas, I was like, big fan. She's like, oh yeah, but it's organic, so it's fine. I'm like, I'm sure it's not. I think it's just organic coffee. But yeah, we are a bit organic obsessed.
No, I like it. It's good.
I do understand that organic, by the way, to listeners, is more expensive. So if you don't want to get organic and it's just not around, you know, you just can't find it in the store because sometimes it's sold out, just wash your other fruit and veg, because they just got loads of pesticides on them.
Yeah.
I sound like a freak.
This is a really shit, stupid question, but is organic literally just the the difference in how it's grown and stuff.
Yeah. So just like no pesticides on it. It was just grown organically. So it's just clean. It doesn't. You're not gonna like scrape the apple with a knife and find out a layer of wax, which you do. I mean, I do obviously eat non-organic stuff, guys. I just try when I'm at home to be organic. I've got it in my mind. Just toxin free. I'm a bit of a toxin. I don't like toxins, but then I drink those. So
where has all this come from? Like where?
I read here we go. I've read many a health book. I read a book by Davina Taylor. I cannot remember. How Not to Diet, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
And she's basically saying that it's not about like the no fat, low calorie. It's like absolute bullshit. It's just about the toxins and stuff. Where like the low fat yogurt is full of crap, whereas the full fat yogurt's probably full of such good nutrients.
Yeah.
So it's basically about like don't count calories, eat whatever you want, you know, just make sure it's whole foods. And she explains how bad toxins are for you. And ever since reading that, I'm like, oh my god. I live in London, so I'm probably like full of toxins.
Oh, I remember when I first moved to London, and honestly, my chest was like, I can't breathe.
I constantly have my nose is blocked, and it's the pollution. The minute I get out of London, I'm like, I can breathe. I'm like allergic to the pollution or something. It's horrible.
Yeah. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in London?
I grew up in London and Warwickshire, so my mum lived in Warwickshire, my dad lived in London.
Cute.
Yeah. You grew up in Manchester?
No, I grew up in Yorkshire, just outside of Leeds.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I moved to London when I was 2017. I lived here for 5 years, and then I went back. So yeah.
And you went back but you were in Manchester now?
I'm in Manchester, yeah. So Manchester's like an hour away from where I'm from. So
fine, and it's just because you wanted to live in like another city.
Yeah, I'll probably come back down next year, to be fair, but yeah. Shall we talk about the podcasts?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Nearly Weds, and then you also have Wednesdays We Drink Wine. Let's just talk about podcasting because it's my favourite thing, so you're just keen to like have a chat about how you started them, why you started them, and yeah.
So in case you guys didn't know, I am marrying the podcast king. He is obsessed with podcasting, so he was always like, why do you do podcasts? Why do you do podcasts? And I was like, about what? Like, about me? Like, it's such an oversaturated like field. Like, everyone's got a podcast, but it is so fun. Like,
it's fun out there.
It's so fun. You really are just like sitting chatting with a friend. Like, there's no, and for someone who'd been on reality TV show and having no control of the edit and like no control of what gets said or like what subject we're talking about or like what we're doing today, it's really nice to sort of be in control of what I'm saying and what gets put out there. So that was like a big thing that I loved. But for ages I was like, what on earth would I ever do a podcast about and who would listen? And then I was away filming me and Chelsea actually at the time, and I was like, I think I've like done my stint with it. I think it's time for me to leave. But I kind of like, what am I gonna do? And like, how would I spend my? And then Melissa and I, my best friend, we were like, why don't you come over for wine on Wednesday and we'll decide, we'll talk it all through. And she came over for wine on Wednesday, and then Jamie was listening to us, and we just talk, and we FaceTime each other still about 15 times a day. And he's just like, I just don't get how you guys talk so much. It's not normal. And then we were like, maybe we should do a podcast. And then we were like, let's do it drinking wine, because that's what do we do best? Drink wine together. And then it became Wednesdays We Drink Wine. Play on Wednesdays we were playing. Yeah, it was meant to be a bit, but not that with me.
No, I love it, and it's fun. Oh my god, I listened to the episode with the, what is she called, the Tinder swindler girl.
Oh my god, I was fascinated.
She's a legend.
She's a effing legend.
She's a fucking.
She's so cool, and like she's just like riding the wave. Like, why not take everything you can from that horrible disaster?
I know. Well, I was listening to her and I was like, kudos to you, honey, for making this.
Yeah, she's like making the money back through it. Like it's on a 360.
I know. And then when she saw him again in Tel Aviv.
I know. It's mad. It's so crazy. I saw him. Well, I saw someone that saw him, and then I think I walked past him on the Kingsway just after it all came out, and I was like, Psycho. So scary.
He's crazy. But no, it's fun and it's girly and it's just nice chatting, and I love the dilemmas. Like, they're fun, aren't they?
Yeah, they're so fun. They're so wild. I can't believe
people have drama.
People have drama. People are like risky. Like, I live quite a safe, easy life. Maybe I should amp up the drama in mine.
Yeah. And then Nearly Weds is obviously with Jamie.
And Nearly Weds is obviously with Jamie, which was honestly like a spare of the moment thought. I mean, maybe he thought more of it than me, and he like has a lot of conversations without me, or they just go straight over my head. I'm like listening, pretending to listen, I'm just not. But the next thing I know, we were in the studio recording an episode, and then the next thing we know, we've got all these listeners and such an amazing fan group, and we've now got a show, and it's so exciting.
No, it's cool. And then you're doing a live show, aren't you, in March?
Doing a live show, yeah.
So cool.
Which I have no idea what it will be like, but hopefully it will be really fun.
It will be really fun.
It's a one-night thing, so it won't be too exhausting, because obviously we've got a wedding like literally the month. Our official wedding is the month after, so I'm like, I can't really. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. How are you feeling about the wedding?
Overwhelmed. Like there's it's a lot. It's a lot to have. Like it's a lot of pressure is the only word to describe it. I don't think people will tell you how much a ball ache is. Like anyone who is a bride and who loves planning it, like kudos to you, but I'm ready to be like to my wedding planning. You just choose everything.
Honeymoon.
Yeah. I'm ready to like scrap the wedding and everything. But I'm like at the point where I'm like, you can pick the flowers now. I'm done.
It'll be the best time there.
I hope so. It's crazy, it's like over in a night. It's like this year you planned for, and it's over by in 24 hours.
Yeah.
But I guess that's it. I've never really, like, do you like having big birthdays? I've never really been one to have big parties about me.
No. I like to celebrate stuff, but I don't want to be like, guys, let's all do this for my birthday. I'm like, oh, do you want to plan something for my birthday and I'll turn up?
Yeah. I don't even like that. Like, I literally hate like people that I don't know. So this is quite strange that I'm gonna have all these eyes on me walking down the aisle. But I have to just keep being like, it's fine. Don't stress out about it. It's gonna be great.
It will be amazing. It will really be amazing. Just to move on, who are you away from the cameras and like the bits that people don't see about you? Like, I don't know. I get the sense from you that you're probably similar to on camera, but like, who is Sophie off of the camera?
Oh my god, I honestly am just the same. Like, I really wish I wasn't as goofy as I am on camera, as I am off. But I am, like, I really am not much different. I don't think I'm like as much. I like I recharge by being on my own, so I do need like a bit of alone time. So I'm very sociable. Like, I love going out and seeing my friends, but I do love also just being like on my own. And when I mean on my own, like not Jamie, like on my own, watching my program, like, or in a bath. Like, that's how I recharge.
Yeah, so and I think that's so important as well, right?
So important. People are different. Like, people are extroverts and they recharge by being with people and like soaking energy off other people. Like, I just recharge by being myself.
Yeah. You said about leaving Made in Chelsea, I think you said you were away when you decided that you wanted to leave Made in Chelsea. Like, why did you feel that you wanted to like step away from the show? I
think I always only ever really wanted to do like 3 years, because I think you can get really caught up in it. I don't think it's that great for mental health. Like,
why so?
I think you're just full of anxiety the whole time, because you're just thrust into this world of drama, and typically it's negative drama. Like, unless you're in a happy relationship and it's being filmed and the viewers really want to see you kissing and falling in love, you're then like having to have negative drama, and that's just not healthy for anyone. Like, who wants to be having a fight with somebody 24/7? Like, it's just, or even hearing about it or being in that sort of energy space. So I always sort of had that sense of like, I didn't want to do like 10 years on it and break up and get back together with whoever. And also Jamie left. It just felt like the right time to move on, really. a lot of my friends had left. I mean, it's a whole new cast really now.
Yeah.
Felt like it was my day.
No. And I think you were on it at a good time where like it was one of the first reality TV shows, wasn't it? And it was kind of when reality hit and when it wasn't oversaturated. It was a really good time to be on it.
It was a great show. I mean, I'm sure I don't watch it now,
no,
but
I don't.
yeah, I mean, it was really good and it was so fun. I had like the best time on it, but it was just time to move on.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting show. So final question I ask everyone on the show is, what is your version of beauty? My version of beauty is happiness on the inside. I'm going to cry. Is that like really off the scale of what you normally get? No. Should I have said my red light facial? I know it is. I think it's kindness. No, it is beautiful. It honestly really touched me. There you go. As a little word of kindness on a Friday for you. It is. Thank you. Thank you for being open and thank you for chatting. It was really interesting. Oh my god, thank you for having me. I've had such a good time. Thank you.